Shravanam Diaries podcast.
So, welcome everyone. It is the awaited Saturday Q&A. And I'll again try to look into the camera this time. And today we're answering the question of Naman X Patel. At first, he asked, why are we what we are? And in addition to that, he said, are we just fungus spinning on a moist piece of rock? Now, first of all, when the first question, why are we what we are, I immediately remembered Sanatana Goswami, who met Lord Chaitanya, and the first thing he said that, my dear Lord, everybody considers me a great learned man, but I don't even know who I am. It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and actually, the first question that we as intelligent human beings are supposed to ask is that, who are we? Why are we what we are? And all I can say is that we are thinking that we are Indian, we're thinking that we're American, we're thinking we're British, Russian, Chinese, but we are not this body, as Srila Prabhupada always would say, that we are spirit, soul, that's what we are. And we are 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair, but our ego is not in proportion to our size, really. So hence the question is, why are we what we are, right? So Katha Upanishad says, Eko Bahunam Yogastha Kaman Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are meant to please Krishna. Anandamayo Vyasad, he is the source of all pleasure, and he is enjoying himself with his associates, and we are meant to serve him. That's what we are. That's why we are the way we are. And in Naparayaham, or is it Krishna Sangati? I don't remember. There's this wonderful book, one of the Krishna in Vrindavan series of Shivaram Maharaj, and he over there describes that Krishna has this intense, not craving, I don't know, because I read the book in Russian, I don't know how to, because it was in English translated into Russian, now I'm trying to translate it in English again. Krishna has this hunger or this appetite to be loved, like he wants to be loved, and that's why he is sitting there within our hearts, and it's Vakreshwari Mataji would call Jiva Dharma, that it's his favorite pastime to see that the Jiva is coming back to Godhead and to love him, basically. So that's why we are the way we are. Yeah, we're meant to please Krishna, we're meant to serve Krishna, we're meant to love Krishna. And the second part of the question was, are we just fungus spinning on a moist piece of rock? Now, some people call themselves fungus, some people call themselves parasites, some people call themselves a piece of an idiot, or a piece of beep, like piece of anything, basically, piece of junk, right? But interestingly is that we are in actuality complete opposites. We are part and parcel of Krishna, right? We are part and parcel of God. Part and parcel, but of God, you know? And we are feeling as if we're like something completely, we are Tatastha Shakti of the Lord. We can be Antaranga, but we can choose to be Bahiranga Shakti. But actually we are Tatastha, we're in the middle. So, and actually we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are more brilliant than millions of suns. I really admire that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Srila Prabhupada, he describes that the spirit soul is actually more brilliant than millions of suns. And in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the spirit soul is actually so powerful. Actually, not only in CC, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in other books also. Like, I always admire when Srila Prabhupada, he describes that the spirit soul is actually very powerful, and it's natural. Like one of the characteristics of the spirit soul is that it can travel anywhere. So that's why, people who like to travel, like, it's considered that, like, it's a very cool thing, because actually it is. We are meant to travel. We can travel anywhere. So similarly, we can be anything. We can do so many things, because it's the nature of the soul. So yeah, but technically speaking, Bhagavad Gita says the soul can't be moistened, the soul can't be withered by the wind, the soul can't be burned by fire. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita describing all that. So, yeah. Now, we can't be harmed in any way. In this way. So, yeah, we're not fungus. If you feel like that, or if anybody feels like that, then basically it is an illusion. It's not exactly reality. But it doesn't mean to say that your experience is not valid, That's one of the 10 arguments against Buddhist philosophy, which Srila Prabhupada explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Your experiences are valid. Material experience can be quite belittling for us, but that's why it's called material experience, because as soon as you open yourself up for spiritual reality, you will find that reality can be very much different, even though you're still in the material world. Now, then we move to the next question, which Naman X Patel Prabhu presented to us. And it is, what is Dharma and Adharma? How do we identify our Dharma? What is yogastha buddhi? How to attain it, like Lord Krishna? And how does Dharma apply in our personal life? Now, I would like to take out the question about buddhi, answer it first, and then go into the Dharma topic, because when you're discussing Dharma, identifying Dharma, you naturally speak about how to apply it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to talk about Dharma if you're not willing, or if you're not planning to apply it. And what's the point just talking, right? So then, yogastha buddhi. Krishna, Lord Krishna, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He didn't really attain yogastha buddhi, and basically buddhi yoga is something that Krishna teaches Arjuna, and Krishna, he is supremely perfect on his own. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te, that Krishna actually gives that knowledge, that intelligence to the devotee. And how do we attain it? Is by devotional service to the Lord. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So if we are serving the Lord through the processes of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. If we are serving the Lord by these 9 processes of devotional service, then Buddhi Yoga arises, because we're in constant spiritual touch with the Lord. And the Lord is supremely intelligent. And if we are in constant touch with the Lord, Krishna just gives us the intelligence. Yeah. So this is that. Now, what is Dharma and what is Adharma? Now, the thing is that I was thinking that I have to write a dissertation on this because, we have so much material that we could discuss. For example, like right now we're reading Bhagavad Gita, but if you go into Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, where the duties or dharma is described in the 1st canto, in the 3rd canto, 7th canto, 11th canto, and there are verses and verses, very detailed instructions, very detailed analysis, very specific recommendations, instructions, orders. Everything is specifically given for each and every varna, or identifying this and that quality, and then it's the structure, the social structure, what is dharma for this person, that person. And of course you can't speak about dharma without speaking about varnashrama dharma. So I was a little puzzled, or not puzzled or bewildered, but I was thinking what would be the best way to actually talk about it, but at the same time to be concise, to the point, and to make it digestible for our specific audience, and of course for the wonderful follower or subscriber that asked this question. So I decided that it's better to stick to the point and make it as concise and as deep as possible. So when we talk about dharma and adharma, we will look at it from a definition that was given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where Rupa Goswami says that basically all spiritual instructions, all of them, are boiling down to two. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? This is the first definition of dharma and adharma. It is dharma to always remember Krishna. It's adharma to forget Krishna. Okay, now, this is number one. Number two, if we look at the book called Civilization and Transcendence, or even if we look at the book like Bhagavad Gita, dharma, which is defined as also, there is Sanatana Dharma and there is Varnashrama Dharma. And even though Srila Prabhupada, he makes a distinction, just like we read yesterday in the podcast, that there is constitutional duties and there is conditional duties. Constitutional duties are the duties that we perform based on the fact that we are spirit soul, right? That we feed our soul, we're serving the Lord directly through the process of devotional service, and that's our constitutional duties, or svadharma. But there is also our conditional duties, that this material body is built in a certain way and I can only utilize it in a certain way, otherwise my body will break down, I will not be able to do anything. That's also svadharma, but that's a material svadharma. And when it comes to devotional service, we can choose which devotional activities we feel more attracted to. Like some devotees, they really feel attracted to reading. They would read whole day. And actually Srila Prabhupada did encourage that, you can read whole day Srimad Bhagavatam. That's wonderful. Some devotees, they're attracted to, like preaching whole day. Or some devotees do kirtan whole day. That's their dharma. And, but when it comes to svadharma, because we're talking about India, it was kind of messed up, because there are people here who say they're born in Brahmin families and they're considering themselves to be very high Brahmanas, and then there's somebody else who was not born in Brahmin family but who has developed qualities, who has studied, who has raised himself to that standard, and he received second initiation in ISKCON, and they're like, you're not a Brahmana, you were not born as a Brahmana. But actually Narada Muni, he repeatedly emphasizes, and Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they emphasize that it's about the quality, it's not about birth. You qualify yourself by developing certain qualities. And in Bhagavatam, there are so many examples actually. At least two I can remember, that there were some sons of a king who were born Kshatriyas, but they decided to basically renounce the material world, and they all became Brahmanas and they lived. Born Kshatriyas. They raised themselves up to become Brahmanas and not deal with the whole administration thing, right? So there are a couple of examples like that I think Vishwamitra Muni as well, that like he was a Kshatriya, but he decided to raise himself to the position of a Brahmana, and he did it. So in this way, just like in devotional service, there are different flavors of the different aspects of the Krishna consciousness and devotional service. In the same way, in the material dharma, there are different categories where people fit, and that becomes their dharma. Say, for example, if you are a Vaishya, Your dharma is to make lots of money, lots and lots of the money. But if you are supposedly are an administrator, then you can't make your decisions based on lots and lots of the money. Because, I have to be conscious of not being political when I discuss these things. Because if you're an administrator and you're putting money before people, you're not an administrator. You are a vaishya or a merchant who was put in charge of the people and who is actually harming the people. The people are the sacrifice you're willing to make more money. You see? So that's why we have to look at it from this perspective. Like in this book, Civilization and Transcendence, as well as in this book, Bhagavad Gita, is described that sometimes Srila Prabhupada, he interchanges these. He says Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama. And the first time I was reading this, I was like, Varnashrama and Sanatana Dharma, they're like the same thing. Srila Prabhupada uses them interchangeably. Sanatana Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma. Because sometimes we as devotees, we think that we are following Sanatana Dharma and Varnashrama is something external, it's something material, it's something that we don't really need. But actually, excuse me, Varnashrama Dharma is supposed to, is designed for us to remember the Lord, because we're utilizing our material body in service to the Lord in the way that the Lord prescribed and the way He wanted us to use it. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. It's coming from the Lord. So, like that. When you read Nectar of Instruction, you will find that there is one of the things that we should not do as devotees is to accept instructions just for the sake of following them, and to reject them, to not follow some set of rules just because we can't follow them, just because we don't want to follow them. So in this way, when we define our dharma in accordance to, actually dharma, also Srila Prabhupada gives this wonderful example that dharma is something actually so deeply engraved within us. It's a part of our nature. Just like sugar, its dharma is sweetness. The dharma of the sugar is sweetness. The dharma of the water is liquidity. The dharma of oil is greasiness, you know? The dharma of sugar is being sweet. The dharma of salt is being salty. So in this way we can understand that our dharma, that Srila Prabhupada defines that our dharma is to serve the Lord. So in that way, again, coming back to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, always serving Krishna favorably. Yabilashita shunyam gyana karma dhyanavritam, meaning serving the Lord in a favorable way, without karma jnana or anything else, out of bhakti, favorably as Krishna desires it, or sarvapadhi vinirmuktam, without any upadhis, without any identifications, just serving the Lord. That's dharma of a devotee. We have to really, really strongly establish that, first of all, because if we go into now identifying our dharma, we have to understand that as devotees, and I really, really am so glad that I'm answering this question after we have completed the Brahminical culture and ethics at Mayapur Academy, because now I can speak with all of that knowledge that I have absorbed from there, that actually, as devotees, we're all following Brahminical culture, all devotees, in spite of the fact, however, means we are utilizing in order to make Lakshmi in this world, to maintain our families, regardless, like no matter what you do to make money, to put bread on your table, that all the devotees are following Brahminical culture, because we are practicing these wonderful qualities of purity, truthfulness, because purity, truthfulness, austerity, and wisdom, all of these qualities are needed in order to serve the Lord, in order to serve the deity. So, and they all naturally also develop in course of our spiritual life. So, establishing that. Now, how do we identify our dharma? So, we've already identified our swadharma, right? From the spiritual point of view, everything is clear. I'm chanting 16 rounds, I'm following the morning program, the sadhana that makes me part of that Brahminical culture. But then when you talk about material dharma, that is usually defined, that can be defined by your inclinations. Of course, it can also be defined by your astrological chart, because in the astrological chart it is seen what you have brought from your previous life, what inclinations you have. But of course, I would say that ultimately I find it very weird when devotees, they obviously, like, you look at the person and obviously you can see that the person is a Vaishya. All he thinks about is money, all he thinks about is, how to make profit and this and that, and then suddenly he comes to you, he's like, somebody checked my chart, I'm a Kshatriya, so now I will arrange more people to make money off of them. Because literally, I remember this case. It was so funny. This one very wonderful and sincere Mataji, she was saying that, look, speaking on the level of Varnashrama, Vaishyas can't make money. So that's why I am inviting people in my, network marketing group, so that because I'm a Kshatriya, I can make money off of them. I'm like, network marketing doesn't make you a Kshatriya, So, anyhow, it's very sincere. I told her what I felt and they agreed. So how do we identify our dharma? Of course, another thing is that there are certain professions that necessarily in Kali Yuga and at the present moment of time, just the fact that everybody is getting salary means we're all Shudras. Because getting salary means being somebody's worker. So like that. But still, if you're talking about a division of different duties, then you have to consider the nature, you have to consider what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. And again, I would highly recommend 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and 11th canto, because he kind of defines, say, Shudra, he is a master of a specific art. Like, actually, I would say that in Kali Yuga is the age of trivialization. Kali Yuga is the age of trivialization. Like, say, Shudras are like this. Have you seen the incredible arts that Indian artisans they would do? Have you ever seen that? That incredible masterpiece that they would be able to make. And we're like, Shudras are like this. How incredibly expert they were. Or, like Vaishyas, they're able to make tons of money. They're the ones running the entire economic scene. What are you talking about? And then Kshatriyas, they're like, if you bully somebody, then you're a Kshatriya. Kshatriya is supposed to protect. And some people say that, like the kids, they're very, they're bullying everybody, or they're beating everybody up because he's a Kshatriya. That may be. But you have to train them. That's why you have training for the kids. Kids who have that nature that they wanna, punch somebody, basically. So like you train them and they'll be able to protect others. Yeah, that works. Or somebody is a bookworm. So you can obviously see that this person, he likes books. He is more of that Brahminically inclined. So like that. and you identify your dharma in that way. So you look at your inclinations, you look at your propensities, you look at your goals, and then you see where you fit in the social structure. And of course, we don't have a set varnashrama at this point of time, but it would be easier for you. Like you said, how do we apply? How does dharma apply in my personal life, right? How does it apply in my personal life? I would say honestly that at this point of time, we are focusing on our swadharma, meaning spiritual dharma, and we are focusing on our Brahminical culture, which is aside from the way that we make money, because at this point of time we don't have like a super strong, well-built economic system within ISKCON. So devotees are usually doing their best, making Lakshmi somehow within ISKCON or outside ISKCON, but basically we're trying to really inspire everybody to follow that culture and lifestyle in their own house, Brahminical culture. And yes, you can focus on that. You can apply that immediately in your life as much as you can. Some people, for them, it's easy to just wake up every morning and then go and then chant the rounds, go for Manglarati, go for Srimad Bhagavatam class, study, doing self-study and everything. But for some people, it may not come so easily. So best they can do is just manage their 16 rounds and manage their, say, Gayatri, and just on the side, just be very, very appreciative of the Krishna consciousness that other people do. Or some devotees, I know that they're very, very busy working to maintain their families, and best they can do is just chant a couple of rounds of their japa, come to the temple on a Sunday and just admire the kirtan, admire the deities, give some donation and go. So all of us have our own level of ability, but not only ability, I wouldn't say even that it's ability, our own level of how do I say, there's a flying jiva right next to, I have to take him out. Each one of us has our own level of surrender that we are willing or able. How do I say it without able? All of us, we have our own level of surrender that we are. All of us are surrendering on a certain level at this point of time. So at this point of time, if the most important is that we're doing our best. If we're doing our best to surrender at this level and we're sincere, then Krishna, he will make arrangements for us to surrender on a deeper level or surrender more and more. That's why when you talk about how does Dharma apply in our personal lives at this point of time, I would say that always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. We should always stick to these principles. This is Dharma for us. And of course in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Mamaikam Sharanam Vraja, Ham Tvam Sarva Papabhyo. So Krishna says, surrender unto me. And I really like how Aindra Prabhu, he says, Mamaikam Sharanam Vraja means surrender to the holy name. Because Krishna comes to this material world in Kali Yuga as a holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I really deeply pray and hope that you follow the Dharma or Yuga Dharma. Basically, I would want this particular question to focus on Yuga Dharma because if you are following Yuga Dharma, all the other dharmas will be fulfilled. Because again, coming back to Harinama Chintamani of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he quotes Haridas Thakur, Haridas Thakur says that one who chants Nama Bhasa, one who chants Namabhasa, along with the fact that he can attain liberation, along with the fact that all the negative influences of all the bad planets are removed, along with that, it says that Harinama, which is chanted in Namabhas, re-establishes Varnashrama Dharma. So I'm just reading that and I'm thinking, wow, does that mean that we have not been chanting Namabhasa for the past 50 years of ISKCON? Otherwise, where is Varnashrama? But actually it takes time. And you can actually see so many centers in ISKCON, they are developing in that way, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful, but there's a lot of work for us to do, for us, the younger generation, and we have to take responsibility, and we have to do something about it, and we have to contribute. But for that, we have to chant and do our Yuga Dharma very, very diligently to be able to serve and assist our spiritual masters properly. So actually, like, it's our call now. Now, coming back to you, Naman X Patel Prabhu, how does Dharma apply in our personal life? How do we identify our Dharma? I would not go into the details of specifics of your material Swadharma in this particular answer, because if I would explain all of that to you, I don't think that at this point of time, considering your previous question, I don't think it would make much sense for you to get overwhelmed with all the specific details. So that's why I will conclude here on the point that we have Yuga Dharma, and that's Harinama Sankirtana. And if you are performing Yuga Dharma, then your Dharma will be manifested like that. And then it would really mean something to you, I believe, that if I make that kind of emphasis right now. Yes. So like that. Of course, in your own time, you can also consider studying, like, say, the descriptions of Chatur Varnas, the 4 Varnas in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna defines what is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Haribol. You want to say Haribol? Okay, next time he will say it. Yes. And it's very interesting. And of course, I remember in Brahminical culture and ethics, we've been writing a list of the different occupations that can be had by Brahmins. And over there we had like a scientist, or like a psychotherapist, writer, there was also translator, like 20 different things that Brahmins, like in the modern society, that Brahmins do, basically, you know, that it requires basically brain to think. And we can talk about this for some time also, that, you know, Brahmins are the head, and then Kshatriyas are the hand. So like, you know, occupations where it's required like this manpower, and Kshatriyas are supposed to be, I think Bhagavatam described, they're supposed to be very, very jolly, and they have to be enthusiastic to fight. And of course Vaishyas, I think that Vaishyas, in my life I've seen pure Varnas that I've seen are the Vaishyas and the Brahmins, you know, like, you know, you look at it, this is a pure Vaishya. He knows how to make money, she knows how to make money, she knows when to make money, she's all about, like, I know one Mataji, her name is Kalparupini Mataji, she's just like, you know, like, I'm like, how are you, Mataji? She's like, money is there, I'm fine. He's like, okay, you know. Yeah. Or I've seen like pure Brahmins, like, you know, they just don't need anything, they just need their books, and if you ask them some question, they will just talk to you. And it's really, and of course it's very wonderful to see examples of devotees who are like there's one devotee I know, he's a Kshatriya, that's his nature, you know, like every day he goes for like workout, and then he has a managerial position, but he has Brahminical lifestyle, just like we were discussing at Brahminical Culture and Ethics, that at Mayapur Academy we've been establishing that no matter what you do, no matter how how you make money or what occupation you have, all devotees, all Vaishnavas, they follow Brahminical culture, meaning Brahminical lifestyle. And this devotee, like he, if you talk to him about Chaitanya Charitamrita or Srimad Bhagavatam, he will go for hours, and you will listen, you will forget time, and he will talk and he will forget time. But his nature is purely Kshatriya. That's what he is, So like that. Yeah, and it's a wonderful actually topic, and I pray that we will have more and more questions like this for me to talk about it. So Vaishyas are the belly, and then the Shudras are the lotus feet in the universal form. The legs, the working. Actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that the legs, they represent Lord Vishnu. That hands, arms, they represent Indra, and legs, when it's describing the universal form, they represent Lord Vishnu, because the legs are meant to take us to the place of sacrifice, to do sacrifice for the Lord, to serve Him. So what was I saying? I pray that we will have more and more questions like this, because I really love talking about Varnashrama, and I was kind of challenged by these questions from one side, because I believe that I pray that these questions, they will resonate with the subscriber, that they will make sense, and that I've covered most of this thing. But actually this topic is a very deep topic, and I will see how the feedback will be to this question. Maybe I will have an additional session. I'm thinking that I may have an additional video recorded where I will speak more about this topic, just because actually this topic is so deep. Just like, Dharma Adharma, what is it actually? If we remember the story of Draupadi, when she was brought into the assembly hall in such a condition, she was during her off days, and her hair was scattered, and she was lost in a bed, and all of these wonderful personalities, great personalities like Kripacharya and Bhishma Dev, they're standing there, and she's asking them, is this dharma that I'm here? Is this something appropriate? I'm asking you. And they could not say, they just couldn't say that. So, and there is this verse in Mahabharata which says basically that dharma, you can get lost in dharma shastras, to define what is dharma, what is adharma. But Mahajana yena gatasa pantha, if you follow by the footsteps of the Mahajanas, you're safe. So that's why I highly recommend you that if you have such deep questions of what is dharma, what is adharma, how to apply it in my life, how to actually live by it, how to identify our dharma, that of course astrological chart is there, your own inclination, self-reflection, introspection is there, also experience. Some things it's just so easy for us to do. And of course, some people think that, oh, I can sing, now I'm a singer, now I'm supposed to not do anything else, even though I'm also accountant. Ability to perform any art doesn't make you an artist, believe me. Like Bhaktivinoda Maharaj said that a singer is not somebody who can sing, it's somebody who cannot not sing. And that's what makes you a singer, that you can't stop singing. So all of us, we have this thing that we just can't part with it. So you can reflect on that. What is it that you cannot not do? That's your nature, that's your dharma. I remember actually this was discussion that we had with Premanjan Prabhu also, because when Kamteya Prabhu came, he was giving one class at Mayapur Academy during the Brahminical culture and ethics, and he gave the class. He was also describing that, all of us are following Varnashrama because Varnashrama is always there. It's just a little bit under the layers of Kali Yuga, but it's there. And then devotees were asking, what is our nature? How do we identify our nature? And I remembered that Gurukul Maharaj, he was describing in one of the classes that if you think about Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he was an excellent cook. He was a great scholar. He was an incredible writer. He was a musician. He was a manager. He was he was a businessman as well. And he was so many things, but he is known as a devotee. He's glorious as a devotee. So in this way, devotees actually, from what I've seen, of course, even from material point of view, it used to be something so normal to learn 64 arts. There are 64 different kinds of art, which includes acting, includes music, includes even like identifying precious stones. It includes this very interesting list of 64 arts, nimitta gyan. So it's all included in the 64 arts. But Prabhupada, he was known as a devotee. So basically, it is our duty to find out what is our tendency, what is our inclination, to be happy doing the service or the work that we're doing. Even materialists, even worldly people, they understand that you have to do something that you like, and then you don't have to work for the rest of your life because you know that you like doing your work. That's given. But basically, if we are devotees, then we can do anything for Krishna, Then Krishna can engage us. If we're praying to the Lord, then Krishna will engage us in the way He finds suitable. Like I personally noticed in my life that whenever I learn some skill, whenever I learn any skill, immediately later on there will be an opportunity for me to apply that. Incredible, really. Like I remember when I just first started to learn harmonium, I was already well in my, I was 17, and as soon as I started learning harmonium, there would be, out of nowhere, there would be opportunities for me to sing in association of devotees. And it was very interesting because before there would not be such opportunities. I didn't know how to sing. But then as soon as I learned it, then Krishna would arrange it in the way that I could. So, like that. Yeah, so again, I will repeat that I'm not entirely satisfied with my analysis or my response to this question because I feel that it's very, very deep. So hence, I will stop here, but don't be surprised if, depending on the response that I will receive from our audience and from Naman X Patel Prabhu, we may record additional video and discuss these questions more. So let's see how it goes. Okay then. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Saturday Q&A session with Shravanam Diaries podcast, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The book links, previous episodes timeline, and biography of the author can be found on shravanamdiaries.com. The link is in the description, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.